What is up, everybody? It is Ben, aka the Fusebox. It is once again time for an episode of Fusebox Engaged, and we've actually got a topic today, and yeah, I am here. Well, I was here with my guest, the recurring guest, Libertarian Goth, but it looks like she was having some technical issues, so she quickly dropped out of the room. But that's okay, because a day in the life of Fusebox Engaged is not complete without some form of technical issue or error. For those watching at the moment, I would suggest that you click on the link that I have got pinned in the chat of the YouTube. I wish I knew how to do comments on the freaking Twitter. Like, it would be so much more helpful for sharing links. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen. It is Libertarian Goth.
Sorry, some technical difficulties there. My computer just went black, and I was like, okay, what's going on? I hope I didn't die. And then it wasn't recognizing webcam, so I had to get out and come back in. So, yeah.
Oh, well, that was just because it knew you were going live on Fusebox Engaged.
Of course.
Computers hate it.
I know, right? Mine is just so, touchy.
Oh, been there, you know. Oh, yeah, 90s. We're actually going to be talking about something today. It's incredible. But yeah, I have been paying attention to a lot of the ridiculous controversy going around about the Superman movie. What are your thoughts about the Superman movie?
Well, I haven't heard any of the controversy necessarily, but I do have my own thoughts because I'm very vocal about my adoration for Henry Cavill. So I kind of felt like this is a little bit of a betrayal because it's not like Henry Cavill isn't still able to play Superman. He was an amazing Superman. So I just felt it was unnecessary, and I don't think anybody else could be Superman now. I really don't.
I would agree with you in that. Yeah, the thing about the Zack Snyder movies, very well cast, with the exception of Gal Gadot. But
you didn't like her?
She can't act at all.
She's pretty though.
Yes, she's very pretty. She looks the part. But in terms of acting, it is painful yet funny at the same time.
Yeah. Well, she makes up with it for being pretty and actually being very athletic because she's very much in shape.
Kal-El, no.
I think she makes up for it. I that's just my personal opinion.
No. Kal-El, no.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
But no, I loved Henry Cavill cast as Superman. I hated the script behind him.
Maybe I just didn't think too much about the script because I was too busy enjoying what was on the screen. I'm a little fangirl. But he looks the part so much. He's got the chiseled look of Superman. He's got broad as a barn. He's perfect as Superman. It's like he was made in a lab. So I don't. This other guy, I don't know. It feels like imposter syndrome kind of thing going on.
I would agree with that. They could have cast him again and then just started with a clean slate, given it a totally new script, But the problem is I was already nervous as hell with James Gunn being the showrunner because it was either he was going to do a really great job or it was going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy. And the more I see of it, the more I'm thinking it's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm. Yeah, Guardians, it was good as it was, but a part of me trying to kind of got, what's it called? Guardians fatigue.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was funny. It was a good movie, but it's like, you know, with things like that, it's like you want to do it sparingly. You don't want to keep doing it over and over and over. And that was Disney Marvel's biggest weakness, was every time they hit on something that worked once, they had to do it over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And you
like
get
Taika
sick of
Waititi.
Yeah.
Good gracious. Like, don't get me wrong. I like Taika. I think he's brilliant. I think he's hilarious. He also created one of my favorite like vampire like shows and movies. But you can get Taika fatigue, and once you're like 1/3 of the way through Ragnarok, you kind of start to get that.
Yeah. And I think I've mentioned this to you before. I mean, I've mentioned it to anybody who would listen, that with Ragnarok, you do that kind of movie in between major movies. You don't make a comedy movie about the apocalypse of Asgard.
Yeah. Yeah, like the first Thor movie was a bit more serious. Like, of course, it had its little comedic moments, but it's a bit more serious. It really did have that, you know, that Marvel feel where it's like, if this is a real universe, like in the universe, where, you know, they make it like, I don't know, they make it feel like it could be something going on in our world. However, when you get the Taika element into it, there's just too many like quips and like funny moments and silly stuff to where it's just kind of like it takes you out of it. It's like it's just too much.
It's like the actors stop the scene and look at the camera and wink at you.
Yeah, they break that fourth wall too much. I see somebody mention What We Do in the Shadows. Yes, that is exactly what I'm referring to about Taika's vampire creation. It's like one of the best shows from FX. I think it's just amazing.
That's my buddy Omer. But yeah, but right now there has been some controversy surrounding the movie of Superman. And it's all due to something that I think is blown out of proportion. But I think the media was definitely trying to milk it for points.
Oh yeah, because there's nothing really going on much in the entertainment sector right now.
So yeah, basically, I think James Gunn was asked about like how he felt about Superman, and he basically was saying like, oh yeah, he represents he's an immigrant, and like he represents like a call towards a kinder world. And I think the media and a lot of folks on like the MAGA side and all started really getting worked up about it, being like, oh, so you know, he would be like he's anti Trump and all that stuff. And I don't think that was necessarily what he was getting at. I mean, I'm under no illusions that like, I don't think that James Gunn is like pro MAGA or anything like that. But I think he was trying to say something that he thought would be kind of middle of the road. But because he used the term immigrant and all that, it blew up into like this thing where now like I think people on Fox News and all that are talking about how, you know, oh, this is going to be an ultra woke Superman and all that. And I don't think that's where they're going with it.
I do need to say though, looking at that picture, it looks like somebody did a face swap of Brendan Fraser on Henry Cavill.
That's the most controversial thing about
Doesn't it? It looks like Brendan Fraser's face, but on somebody else's body.
Hashtag Brendan Gate.
Oh, bless his heart.
So yeah, Backlash, Man of Steel, an immigrant that came from other places. I mean,
Oh,
that's not incorrect. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen folks on Twitter say like, well, he would technically be categorized as a refugee
Mm,
because his planet
yeah.
blew up.
Yeah, that's true. But it's one of those things where it's like, are you going to throw out these kind of not only buzzwords, but these words that right now mean something tense, or not really mean something tense, but contribute to tension, like bringing up immigrants right now, especially with the heightened like ICE deportations and such of illegal immigrants. And how many in the media don't differentiate between legal and illegal. When you just say immigrant, people just kind of get emotional, whether they're pro or against, what's going on with ICE and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of just maybe that should mention that to bring attention to the movie. Maybe they knew that was going to push some buttons. I don't know.
I mean, you're probably right. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt where it's like maybe he just kind of spit it out without really thinking. Because I know like in the past people have made this statement about Superman before. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, like he basically said, but for me, it's mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and something we have lost. Now, yeah, he could be heavily implying it about the other side, but I would say that can also be taken in a general sense. Maybe I'm being
Yeah.
too generous. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely something to try to interpret, especially the political and social climate these days. And you can argue kind of either way about the kindness factor, where people on the right say that the left isn't kind because they're not letting people have diversity of thought. And then you can say that it's the other way around, where the left is going to say, well, the right is very bigoted, so they're not very kind. But so I think anybody can just kind of warp and manipulate that to fit their agenda and how they interpret that to fit their own ideals. But what he actually really meant, unless somebody asks him to clarify, I don't think that we would really know. But I do think it's a little sus that he is throwing these words that cause a lot of emotion in this climate. Oh.
Let's see. Dark Knight, Miller comic, Superman does the president's bidding. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I do think that this is meant to stir up some pre-movie controversy, especially. But see, I think a lot of people think that it's James Gunn trying to poke the bear. I think it's more the interviewers. The interviewers want to get him to say something anti-MAGA.
That would definitely make sense. Everybody's just like foaming at the mouth to get everybody and anybody to say and be anti-MAGA.
Yeah,
it's like they're who's more obsessed with the MAGA? Is it the MAGA people or is it the anti-MAGA people? That's really a question for the ages, is who is really more obsessed, because you can really argue either way.
So yeah, like the Sunday Times article headline is, "Some people will take offense at my new Superman." Oh Jesus.
He purposely made it woke, because the thing is that I don't think anybody on the right is going to be offended by general kindness. That's just not. No matter what the left thinks, people on the right, like, and I'm saying this as an independent libertarian, people on the right, by and large, of course, there's crazy ones. There's crazy ones in every side, but by and large, the right, is very civil with people who disagree. You can get along with them a lot better and easier. And, they're not allergic to kindness like the left likes to paint them as these evil, like bigoted and just hateful people. It's just definitely not true. So he could just be, saying that to think that, oh, people are going to hate this because it's about kindness. There's a difference between kindness and a difference between like suicidal empathy.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. But like, you got to remember this is Hollywood, where they don't live in the real world. They don't talk to us plebs.
Yeah. Well, nobody on the left lives in the real world either, so it's fitting.
Exactly. But, yeah, he said it plays differently. It's about human kindness, and obviously there will be jerks out there who are not kind and will take it as offense just because it is about kindness. But screw them. Well, that's not very kind.
Oh yeah, I know. Like they say, was it the party of tolerance? Yeah, and I think there's not really a dog whistle there, but I feel like there's some undertones that he is trying to say what we all think he's saying about trying to bring a political thing without, blatantly putting a political thing on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, like, whether or not he's like trying to overtly make a political message remains to be seen. However,
Right.
I have to say, like, my interest in seeing the movie has gone way down. But not because of any of this. It's because of the clips I've seen from the movie itself that tell me that this is not Superman.
That bad.
But yeah, we got, and now folks on Fox News are saying, we don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and have somebody throw their ideology onto us, even though I find that a lot of folks on the right are forgetting about the fact that there have been left-wing themes pumped in to movies for far longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
It's just that they were more subtle about it back in the day.
Right. But nowadays people are so divided that if something is blatant undertones of whatever, they're a lot more vocal about, how they don't want to see it because of this and that. But I also feel like, they've seen, like, I'm sure James Gunn saw the big blowback against Snow White, and he doesn't want to alienate, like, his audience to risk the movie flopping even harder, because that's one big reason why it flopped, not just because it sucked, but, Rachel Ziegler alienated, like, a huge, like, part of the fan base, and James Gunn's definitely trying to avoid that, but he's probably still can't help himself with these little undertones of I can't say it. Politicizing. I'll just say politicizing. Politicizing the movie. Because that's, like you said, it's Hollywood. They don't live in reality.
Oh yeah, and James Gunn's brother Sean decided to really throw some fuel on the fire here. We support our people, we love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, you're not American. People who say no to immigrants are against the American way.
Not even MAGA says no to immigrants. They say no to illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
and
they don't.
Once again, saying as an independent libertarian, that they're very open about that. And anybody who says differently is purposely trying to not see that just so they can be angry.
Well, you got to remember, like, we're looking at this through the left-wing lens, which means we are anti-immigrant. And we hate all them god dang foreigners.
They're taking all our gerbs.
And the guy who played Green Lantern said, "Aw, somebody needs a hug. Just a movie, guys." That's a great way to get butts in the seats.
Just a nice hug under Nathan Fillion's Civilian Pavilion.
So that's a great way to get ticket sales. Good job.
Yeah, it's like Hollywood can't help themselves but end up alienating a lot of people, and they don't really get why people just don't go to the movies really much anymore, and why so many things aren't like making the movie or making the money that they thought they would. Like, go back again, Snow White. It should have, done a lot better than it did. It's a very much, beloved fairy tale story, and it did terribly. It completely flopped.
I think a lot of that is a combination of people being tired of live action remakes, and also it came out very early on that the Snow White remake was going to completely deviate from the original story.
Yeah, I heard it was actually very commie like
oh yeah,
like it was just had so many communist undertones, and the irony of it is that the whole making a movie and selling it is a very capitalistic thing.
yes,
but they make it very communist in theme.
Oh god, yeah. So I mean, yeah, these controversies, I know, like I'm seeing a bunch of people on Twitter saying like, "Oh well, that's it. This movie's gonna tank now." The sad reality is, I don't think the average Joe is paying attention to all this. So
Yeah,
I don't think this is really gonna hit the box office that hard.
yeah, and it's not like he's going on a tour of like interviews, you know, being more blatant and open like Rachel Ziegler was. He did make that comment about the whole immigrant thing, but he just kind of it's a bit vague, and yes, it was very lefty coded, but it wasn't like he was blatantly alienating anybody. You would really have to interpret it to take offense to it.
Yeah, I mean, Sean didn't do him any favors, but
Oh no. No, and that's when it's like, maybe you shouldn't chime in. Maybe you should realize, hey, just like how Michael Jordan said before, like Republicans buy shoes too. Like people on the right go to the movies too, and yeah, especially with the fact that Donald Trump won in such a huge landslide, and supermajority of the votes, like the popular vote, you would don't want to alienate like so many people, because that's obviously like a lot of people voted that way that you're trying to, knock on or take little jabs at. It's not so smart.
Well, I just had a thought in my head and it completely went out.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's my own. It was my hubris. La la la. I was gonna say something, and then yeah, whatever. But no, my issue with the Superman movie is not with any of that. My issue has been from these clips that have come out from the movie itself. Because with Superman, it's hard to do a good Superman movie in this day and age, because you gotta hit that perfect balance of being able to keep it updated, but then at the same time keeping the classic spirit of the character, and that's not easy to do. Because that was the thing,
right.
That was the big issue for me with the Zack Snyder version of Superman, was he came off as being very bitter about the human race, and being his disregard for life when he was fighting in the city. Like, that's not Superman.
No, he's like if Captain America was all powerful, basically, in terms of attitude and
yeah, Superman's thing is that he has the power to level cities, but he exercises extreme restraint.
Oh yeah,
because of who he is as a person. He cares about saving even the most insignificant lives on this planet.
Yeah, he's an all-around very wholesome character who is, I will admit, I think the character is overpowerful. Like in the sense that, with the and was it not Hall of Friends or Super Friends or whatever it is, you know, in Justice League, like in the Justice League, he's basically the entire Justice League. Like he doesn't really need any of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, true. I mean, like that's why they gave him the weakness with kryptonite, was just so they could keep it interesting.
Yeah, but even with that, it's all circumstantial. If he can just, if there's any kind of way to avoid the kryptonite, he's good.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, my buddy Tank Ferret says Hollywood can't write Superman because their heroes are some of the most evil monsters in history. I'm thinking, of course, of Riri Williams, who, Ironheart, if you will, who, such a wonderful hero, is bitter about the socioeconomics of America. So she steals money to build her Iron Man suit. And she sells her soul to a demon and gets powers.
Hmm.
I mean, I think of Hero when I hear that.
Yeah, that's a very noble thing to do for any hero.
Well, that is the ultimate problem with most of these feminist superhero archetypes, is that they're not motivated by selfless giving. They're not motivated. Superman is motivated by wanting to help people. Batman is motivated by wanting to end crime. Spider-Man is motivated by wanting to help people because it's like, I have the power to do something. If I don't do something, I'm letting the world down. That's the superhero thing. With people like Captain Marvel, Ironheart, etc., it's about, how do I make myself feel good about myself?
Yeah, self-centered sort of heroes.
Yeah, how do I elevate myself? How do I look like a badass?
Yeah, and that's one reason why I'm such a big fan of like Black Widow and Scarlet Witch when it comes to the female like heroes and such, because Scarlet Witch, she's kind of more or less fueled by grief, or at least in the MCU, she's fueled by grief. And it's not like she's after it selfishly, the fact of how can I up myself. She eventually tries to, but because she is fueled by grief, because she just wants, a family and everything else, and she is all powerful. But, she, I don't know, kind of hard to explain. She has a lot more depth to her than this whole feminist trope. She's not focused on that. And with Black Widow, she is absolutely amazing. She was, put through the ringer as a super spy since she was a child, and, turned from, Soviet spy to, defecting, and just became good. As far as her thing, she's not seem to be focused on, what Carol Danvers is focused on either. She's focused on what she can do.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Well, my thing about Scarlet Witch, I think I brought this up before also, was that I find her story interesting, mainly that I think she starts off doing the heroic thing. Well, she starts off being kind of villainous. Then she has a change of heart and she starts trying to be more selfless. And then when Vision dies and everything, and she kind of has her breakdown, I think she starts down the villain path in that way, which is an interesting story to me. But it's like, it would be more interesting if the movies really acknowledged that, but they don't. They're trying to play both sides. They're trying to have her be more villainous, but then at the same time they want you to think that she's a hero.
It's
So
because
it's
it's
like,
more of a hero's fall from grace than it is like a full-on villain.
well,
Because she
yeah,
is a
but I mean,
hero falling from grace.
like the most interesting villains in fiction are the ones that are that you can empathize, like you can sympathize with their situation.
Hmm.
It's like they're not just pure evil. It's like something happened to them that just kind of twisted their viewpoint. And
Yeah, and with her, that something did happen.
yes,
Lots of stuff happened.
yes. And that, and again, because it's like I like, I guess it's the Christian point of view. It's that I like being able to humanize the villain. And it's like, and there's always that hope that they'll switch back. And that's kind of why that's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball, was that I always liked how Goku never wanted to kill his opponents, and
Hmm.
how most of his enemies eventually have a change of heart and join his side.
Yeah, well, not all, but yeah, definitely like Vegeta. But Vegeta was still always pining to get more powerful than him. So,
Well, yeah,
he
but
it was still competitive with him, but he was on his side.
also the original Demon King Piccolo,
Mm. Oh yeah,
who ended up becoming Gohan's second father.
second father.
Okay, first
Oh,
father.
yeah, ended up becoming his father. In general, Goku isn't like father of the year or at all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I guess I'm not saying that these bad guys are secretly good guys. I'm saying that usually the best villains are the ones who start off with good intentions, and then that gets warped and changed over time.
And
And
that's definitely Wanda Maximoff.
and that's how and funnily enough, that's how I feel about Rick, specifically on the TV version of The Walking Dead. Was that I enjoyed how he started off being your hero archetype. He was the small town cop who had a heart of gold and wanted to help people out, which is what made him the natural leader. And then slowly over the show, because of all the horrible crap that happens to him and all the trauma, he starts going feral. I always thought that
Well,
was cool.
trauma is one hell of a thing to go through. It can do a lot. It can make or break a person truly. Um, and a lot of the best characters are relatable because, everybody has some sort of trauma. And, you have a character that is full of trauma, it kind of makes them a lot more relatable, especially if it's something like that is relatable, not just like, oh no, like I was in New York during the battle of like freaking the Avengers or something. But I guess people could relate to it. They're from a war zone, but stuff like everyday stuff. Like I keep going back to Wanda Maximoff. Like she had, loved ones that passed away, and that was her grief. Mourning over people, and then there's, like bringing up another Marvel character like Loki, who, his trauma was that he was raised to like hate frost giants and finds out he is what he hates, and that he's adopted and feels like he's in his, older sibling's shadow. A lot of people can probably relate to that as well. So it may not always be trauma, but it's always something that's going to be relatable.
Well, I knew you were going to advocate for Loki at some point.
Always.
I knew it was going to come.
Well, he's right here.
You got him looking at me funny.
Yeah, he just kind of creeped up on the screen there.
Yeah, well, I think black and white morality, I would say, like, I'm more interested in stories with some shades of gray, but I don't like completely getting rid of the standard of good and evil. It's you got to kind of it's similar to what I was talking about with writing Superman. You got to kind of ride a line. You know, it's like you veer too far on one side or the other. If you veer too far on the black and white morality, it gets boring. If you veer too far into the gray, it gets depressing.
Yeah, and see that the being a black and white morality is where it was difficult to make Captain America not be boring, because he is so straight edge, black and white morality, just good, just flat out good. And to make a character like that not boring, because usually there's more depth and elements to him, but he's just good. I think they still did a good job at making him not boring, and still he had like all the just flat out good elements.
And I think also it was the fact that the movie came at a time where we were so used to seeing like morally gray characters, that seeing a character who was essentially a knight in shining armor was kind of new for the time.
Yeah, and he definitely was. He was, because that's all he is. He's just goodness, and that's why he is one of the only other people who can actually lift Thor's hammer.
Yes, which was the only moment of that movie that I enjoyed.
Yeah, well, in the comics, he was able to lift it. Now, I had a friend who actually used to draw for Marvel. So we used to talk comics here and there, and he said that he's not really a big fan of the MCU, but he was an artist for Marvel, specifically Spider-Man. So we were talking about all that stuff that came out, and he said that it was okay, and he liked that they included the fact that Cap, was able to lift the Mjolnir, but he didn't like how he was able to summon the thunder and lightning.
Yeah, I can see that, because it makes it seem like it's like, okay, does the lightning and the thunder come from the hammer, or does it come from Thor himself? And the answer should be from Thor himself, because he's the god of thunder.
However, I argued that Odin said, for whoever holds this hammer have the power of Thor. So if you have the power of Thor, you can summon the lightning.
In my opinion, there's only one Thor.
There is. But
I will not accept imitation.
It's not imitation. It's just that you can have his power if you are worthy of wielding Mjolnir.
Well, you can only have his power if you're Zeus.
There is, but who is the Roman god that's like Zeus? Because I know it's almost like carbon copy. It's almost like the Romans copied the Greeks' homework.
Yes, that's Jupiter.
Jupiter, yeah.
And he's literally he is Zeus. He just has a different name.
Yeah, they copied their homework. Just change it up a little bit.
Oh, I would agree with that. That it does contribute to moral relativism, because they ascribe to that philosophy over there in Hollywood. It's the old Oprah Winfrey, live your truth.
Yeah.
Which it's like at that point, like, morality is 100% subjective, and then therefore the world can just descend into chaos.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of difficult to try to make something that's going to be relatable, entertaining at the same time, and you can't have something that's overly relatable. Like, you have your moral standards for movies, what's considered good, what's considered not good. But then you also have, like, things that, like, kind of going back to Superman, about how, talking about kindness, the fact that he's an immigrant, what people are considering to be what's good. Now, I'm not. That's not to me for me to say that immigrants are bad at all. My mother's an immigrant, but trying to raise up, certain communities with the not in good faith, since they're trying to bring up immigrants, but the whole issue currently right now is with illegal immigrants. It's kind of it's kind of like, are they pushing morality or are they pushing agendas?
Yeah. Well, it's the latter. I mean, that's the truth of it. They call that morality in their minds, but because they expect all of us to ascribe to their religion,
And it really is like a religion there on the left.
Oh, definitely. It's wildly inconsistent. Oh yeah,
I can really get into that too.
No, Teroris, you hit it on the nail on the head. That is how you tell a good story with a white knight. Is you put them in a world that is wrong. That's the key. Having it to where doing the right thing is going to get you in trouble.
Yeah, because in the first movie, he did purposely drop in to save the whole, the unit or whatnot.
Yep.
Disobeyed orders because it was right to save them, but he still disobeyed orders, so that was still wrong. So it's
And then in Civil War, I mean, not Civil War, Winter Soldier, which was one of my favorite MCU movies, they have fun playing with the notion of he's got the old world values and now he's been thrown into the information age where you've got everything is morally gray and the government does some very shady things that he does not approve of, and he's got to end up going against the government because the government has been infiltrated by Nazis and
well, I think that Winter Soldier was definitely not a left-wing movie in many instances. I think that Winter Soldier actually had some libertarian elements to it.
Oh,
of course,
people
to interpret how they want to, but it was probably the least, I guess, quote, woke and anti-authoritarian movie put out in a long time. And it was MCU.
And I would also argue that in Civil War, Captain America's position in Civil War was like the poster for the Libertarian Party. Because they're arguing back and forth about signing the Accords. And Cap makes the argument that, the UN are people with agendas and agendas change. And what if they order us to go somewhere that we don't agree with going there? Or what if we need to go somewhere and they won't let us?
Exactly.
That is as libertarian as it gets.
Oh yeah. I like how it's almost like they don't see it. Like Hollywood did that, but they don't see it. If you know what I mean, There's certain lessons that you can take from fiction and still apply to the real world, just like that.
Oh, 100%. And that's why it shocks me that Chris Evans is such a huge lefty in real life. And I guarantee you, if you asked him about how do you feel about the political differences between you and Captain America, he would be like, what are you talking about? We're totally the same. Captain America would be a lefty. What?
Yeah. Well, there's one thing though about Chris Evans. He is a lefty, but he's had a couple moments where he kind of let things kind of not, I guess, get to him. Although I don't like him. What's his name? The Eye Patch McCain, they call him. He took a photo with him, and all the lefties screeched about it because they're like, "Oh, do you know who this took a photo with?" Because Eye Patch McCain was a Captain America fan. Apparently, had a fake Captain America shield eyeball and was showing him. I don't know, but he actually didn't take a photo with a Republican. So I think he has his moments where he's probably not super crazy, but he still has not deleted some tweet about Kyle Rittenhouse or something, even after Kyle
Of
Rittenhouse
course.
has been found not guilty.
Of course.
No, it wasn't that. It was the Catholic school kids that he tried to say were bullying a Native American, and they weren't. They were the
Oh
ones being
yeah,
bullied. Yeah,
I forgot
was
about
that.
that one.
yeah.
Yes, indeed, Terraris. Yes, indeed. Now I need to show you. This is very important. I need to show you these clips from the superhero movie. I mean, the
Yes,
Superman
it's
movie. Superhero, Superman, same thing. But this clip right here is the most notorious one for me. This is the one where this is as anti-Superman as it gets. And you're about to see why.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be...
Lex, I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog.
The dog, loser! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about.
I'm a big fan of him.
What did you say?
That was as he literally threw a huge temper tantrum and destroyed the place
Hmm.
and lost his shit on him screaming. That is not Superman.
No. Yeah, it definitely seems off character.
Superman would have, like, the real Superman would have shown up being kind of like suave with his arms crossed, making some kind of quip about, like, like, you always go around kidnapping innocent dogs, like he wouldn't be flying off the handle screaming bloody murder.
He'd probably like fly, like sit there and like float in the window with his arms crossed and just stare him down.
Yes.
That's more Superman than throwing stuff around, breaking stuff, causing lots of damage.
And it's one of those things where, I would lose my shit over my dog being kidnapped, but I'm not Superman.
Yeah. Although, John Wick kind of did a lot more than what Superman just did over a dog.
That's why we love John Wick. But
Yes,
at the
we
same
do.
time, he's not Superman.
It's true. He's Baba Yaga.
Yes. And this one right here, I played this one on one of my previous streams. I played it many times to annoy my friend Cynic. But this scene this scene was the first one where I was like, oh god, I don't know if I want to see this. Because I feel like we're gonna start getting some more James Gunn humor moments throughout this movie.
You've gotten a lot of heat on social media lately.
I don't read that stuff. Superman doesn't have time for selfies.
Third person. You're referring to yourself in third person now.
No, it's just a thing I came up with that I thought I'd try to work into the next interview.
This is on the record, Superman.
Okay, well, not the part where I said that.
Yes, that part.
No, that part was an aside. That was off the
You
record.
have to say off the record beforehand, not after.
Why are you being like this?
It's fine. I won't write that you spend your spare time trying to think up sound bites, which are terrible, by the way.
Isn't it funny?
It might work a little bit more if it was like a Netflix show and they did that, but not for a movie. You have a certain amount of time in one movie.
Don't you love those moments where, like, you think you're getting like a little bit of character exposition and then we have to stop to do the whole did you actually just say that? What are you talking about? Back and forth.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, it would work more in a show than it would for a movie. That's not
Here's
a
the
movie
thing,
moment for Superman.
Superman can be quippy, but it's not in his personal moments. It's when he's like about to fight something. and he throws off like a line or something. They did that perfectly in Avengers with Captain America when he shows up in Germany to stop your boyfriend who was forcing people to kneel. He does the whole, the last time I was in Germany, I saw a man standing above everyone else. We ended up disagreeing.
Yeah.
And then Loki, does this. The soldier, a man out of time. I'm not the one who's out of time.
Yeah.
So that's the superhero quip. That's how you do that.
Yeah. That was a nice exchange. Yeah.
And then
he multiplied himself. That was nice.
Of course, you'd think that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and this one of Superman saving a dog. And to me, this one feels just wrong for more subtle reasons than the last two.
Aww. Wait, well, what?
Get out of here!
The dog's doing his part. He's barking. What? What?
Now that one, see, there are a few things where it's like, okay, feels Superman-y. Number one, I don't think the dog would just be standing there barking when there's a giant monster. Like, I've known some brave dogs. I don't know a dog that would be that brave. And but my thing is, I don't think Superman would use frost breath to like shove him away. It's a more
the dog isn't moving.
It's more nitpicky, I admit. But at the same time, I feel like Superman would have found a more clever way to save the dog.
Well, it's not like he has meat breath where he can spit out meat to have the dog go chase it. But,
anything goes now.
Right. Well, I thought the little mole thing was a little weird. Like, just because he can doesn't mean he would. You know?
But yeah, so it was mostly for the first two clips where, I was just like, this isn't Superman. And that last one, it was more of a nitpicky critique where it's like, I feel like he would have found a more gentle way to get the dog out of the way than.
It was kind of gentle. Kinda.
I don't know.
He just blew him with air. It's not like he, laser item.
Lordy. So yeah, the odds are very strong that I am not going to go see this movie. I might check it out in streaming later on, just out of curiosity, but I'm not confident about this.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it gonna be like one of those like you wait for stream for you?
Yeah, I'm not confident about this. I mean, and it's sad because I was more excited about this at first than I definitely I had no interest in seeing the Fantastic Four movie, like none.
Yeah, it doesn't look very good to me either. Like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Thunderbolts, but of course, like at the end of Thunderbolts, whenever like the extra scene where they have like the ship come in, I was like, really? Like, I liked the Thunderbolts. I legit did. I really liked it. And then they have to put that in there. And like, I wasn't looking forward to Fantastic Four. I have no interest in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Eh.
I know a lot of people who are like super, oh my God, Fantastic Four. I'm so excited. I was like, I never understood the attraction to the Fantastic Four. I thought it looked goofy.
Yeah. It seems like in a certain time period, it would be attractive because I don't know. I feel like some of it's still kind of stuck in a time period for me.
Yes, Terraris, this was the major reason why I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
I am so sick of that son of a bitch. I can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, like, he's not the worst actor on earth. He's actually pretty good, but he's so obnoxious.
He's one of those where he got so big so fast, he should have just kept his mouth shut because he's in everything now and he has crossed the realm into insufferable.
Yes. And that's the thing. I am so tired of seeing him cast in everything, and they keep casting him in roles that were like originally white guys, and it's like they're kind of trying to like, it's like, well, we're kind of making this diverse, but he could kind of pass for a white guy, but you know,
yeah, because he's a white passing Latino. Although I will say, I do love that GIF of him going like,
oh God,
he's like smiling like,
oh God,
that's one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
That drives me nuts because people have used it against me, and I want to slap him every time I freaking see it.
Such a dumb smile, and I love it. I love dumb smile looks like that. Like, it's goofy.
So yeah, I had no interest in seeing Fantastic Four whatsoever, and then I was looking forward to Superman, and then those clips came out, and I'm like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
So it's depressing.
Yeah, I don't like the whole dynamic.
It's depressing. So yes, I agree with the Snyder Bros in bring back Henry Cavill, but give him a totally, like, get somebody that knows Superman to write the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
and Henry
more of
Cavill,
this
one thing about him is that he cares about the...
I was just saying, like, no more of this. Let's do evil Superman trying to blow up the Earth crap. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. And like, get actors that care about the source material. Like, I was just saying that Henry Cavill, whatever, he cares about the source material. He is one actor that is like, will actually get involved if the actor or the script or whatever is so far deviated from the source material, because he actually cares about source material, because he's a nerd himself. So, you know, he gets that frustration about, you know, transcribing source material onto the big screen and everything. So, you know, he's an actor that actually cares. I like that.
I agree. That's why I'm like, why didn't he speak up more on Superman?
Yeah.
Man of Steel.
Like, one of his first big ones.
Man of Steel was not a Superman movie to me. It was somewhat of a Dragon Ball movie. But even in Dragon Ball, Goku's first thing is always, hey, let's get somewhere where there's no people so we won't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And Superman and Man of Steel couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
Blowing up gas stations and 7-Elevens and Dunkin' Donuts all over the place.
Oh no, that's what America runs on.
Yeah. Oh lordy. And now I have somewhat of a tangential note here. I meant to show you this before. So I normally do not care at all about TikTok trends. I find them very stupid. And this one is very stupid too. But something about this made me think, like, I think Libertarian Goth should try this.
Sounds like this.
Hmm. Okay, as a makeup artist, I can do special effects. I did I did take schooling. Like when I was in makeup school, I did we did special effects. I could do it, but it's extremely time consuming. And
It's worth
yeah. Well, it is if you have the time. It's extremely tedious, and you're sitting there for a long time. If you're on yourself, especially uh, if you care about the details, and it's all about the details, is what special effects is.
it. Yes, indeed. Yeah, like all these women have been doing this Cleopatra dance, which half of it feels like it's AI generated, but
Oh yeah.
I'm attracted to it for obvious reasons. Particularly this one.
And it sounds like this.
Oh, I hate using caps. They have a lot of hair. Well, if there's an AI generator, I'll do it because I just put my face in it. I'm sure one of my AI apps will probably pop up with having it. It's a trend.
So these women, they need to call me. I think that would be, that would be in their best interest. Because they have proven that they are worthy to stand at my side and to rule this world. But yeah, I think you should try that.
Well, if I can find an AI, I'll do it.
Don't you want to be Anubis?
I don't know. It's very fast. It's a very fascinating, like historical religion. I say that 'cause I don't think anybody else follows it anymore.
I have no idea like where that came from. That people just started, and that song. What even is that song?
I don't know.
It's one word, or it's La Cleopatra.
I've never heard it before.
And yeah, they keep doing like they keep kind of changing up the order of stuff in each one, but the Anka dance. What is an Anka dance? Are you looking it up?
Oh no. No, I have a hangnail. So
Oh shit.
yeah.
Well, I think that we are pretty much approaching that time. Oh wait, Anka from Animal Crossing. I've never played Animal Crossing.
I have. I don't remember the dance though.
There's not enough war to attract me. But yeah, it is. We are reaching that time. We've hit the hour mark, but I want to really quick. I have to self-promote. So, ladies and gentlemen, Outlaw Nights issue number 2. We are currently at $1,213. If we can get this up to 2K, I'm going to be including a preview of issue number 3 for everybody. So I think we should all get that. We got to get it up there. That's what she said.
Get on it, y'all.
We already hit the 1K stretch goal, which means we are getting these awesome stickers with every order. That's right. If whichever tier you back, you are getting these stickers included with them. These stickers were done by a pretty well-known chibi artist in the indie community, 6am Comics. He has a very distinctive style that everybody can recognize. So yeah, get on it, because this Outlaw Nights is an awesome space pirate series. This is issue 2 of about 10. And this story takes place in the 31st century. Humanity has begun colonizing into outer space, and history is very much repeating itself as the nations of Earth are at each other's throats, competing over territory and resources. It is a chaotic, hectic time period to be alive, and piracy. There has never been a better time to be a pirate than this time. This is the platinum age of piracy. And in the midst of all this, we've got our main character, Cyrus Lawson, who has settled on a small, out-of-the-way, insignificant little colony called Therese, and he's joined the colony guard there. But he's not really expecting a lot of trouble, because, I mean, who would invade a place like Therese? I mean, LG, have you heard of Therese?
Oh, no. Not
Yeah.
outside of this.
That's how obscure it is. Nobody's heard of it.
Mm.
But right from the get-go of issue 1, the pirates of the ship Hazard invade his settlement looking for a special piece of data. And this data is going to lead to a treasure everybody and their mothers got their eyes on. This is the ultimate rat race in the making. Issue 2, which we're premiering right here, is kicking off where our boy has been kidnapped by these pirates. And he is now getting a first-hand look at the underworld of the 31st century. And their group has gotten into some hot water due to the heist that they did in issue 1. And so they are being pursued by a notorious pirate hunter, a sneering British imperialist cyborg who goes by the name of Wellington. So we have got guns ablazing, and we are kicking off as I would say the last issue was the inciting incident, but this is really solidifying the journey in this issue. Issue 1 was about 25 pages long. Issue 2 here is about 30 pages long with some extra pages added on for artwork. If you missed out on issue 1, which you most likely did because it's not the most well-known comic out there, that is not a problem. You can catch up real quick. You can get issues 1 and 2 physical for just $25. That's right, 2 comics for the price of 1 typically on Indiegogo. So, and if you're not into that, you just want the digital, you can get it for $22. And I know that seems like, oh, that's not much of a drop, but see, with the physical, you got to pay shipping. With the digital, you're just paying one little price. So yeah, if you haven't gotten it, ladies and gents, I highly recommend that you do. We are just getting started with this thing, and yeah, let's make this the year of the outlaw. This is the year of the outlaw. I was gonna add something to that, and then it fell flat. That's what she said. Oh, yes, indeed. And how we were talking about morally gray characters and all that. This is a story all about moral grayness.
Pirates.
Well, yeah, and the fact that I would say Cyrus kind of starts off with sort of a Captain America-esque kind of attitude. I wouldn't say that he's like Captain America in that he's more flawed in that he's a little too headstrong for his own good. But he is still a heroic type. He wants to help people. He wants to save people. And he's basically put in a situation where it's like, okay, there's no good option here. So it's like, you got to find the lesser of the two evils. And that's pretty much, and I would say that his overall arc throughout the series, I don't want to give too much away, but I would say that it's kind of a hero becoming slightly more anti-hero due to circumstance.
Yeah.
But we're not, it's not depressing and, oh God, everything's miserable, There's a lot of fun in this, particularly my favorite character is the Captain Ivory, who is he's a wise ass, and he's very much he drinks way too much. He is an alcoholic, and that will come into play in the story. And yeah, he's my favorite. He's kind of the icon for the series. Yes, indeed.
Cool.
So, ladies and gents, if you have not gotten yourselves a copy of Outlaw Nights, go ahead and click on the link in the chat, also pinned in the chat. And if you're watching this on X or on Facebook, click on my profile. I've got it in my little profile description, and I've got it most likely pinned in the is it? No, it's not pinned in my pinned chat. So click on the link in my profile description and get yourselves a copy of Outlaw Nights. Let's get this mother to 2K. Let's do it. Yes, indeed.
Get her done.
And thank you once again for joining me, Libertarian Goth. It is always fun having you on. We have great discourses going on here.
Yeah. Great conversation.
Oh, definitely. And where can everybody find you?
On X, I am at Libertarian Goth with a 0 for the O in Goth. Libertarian Goth on YouTube, Libertarian Goth on TikTok, and on Instagram. Instagram is in a way more dedicated to my store, libertariangoth.com, which is the largest alt culture geared liberty apparel store on the internet. So you can definitely check that out as well. That's where I'm at. And I also have a stream that I do on X and Rumble, Libertarian Goth on there as well. And YouTube on every Friday night at 10:30. So you can check me out there, and my music news website, thealternativesovereign.com.
Hell yes. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, when you read Outlaw Nights, make sure you're doing it wearing a Make America Goth Again hat or one of the Make America Metal Again t-shirts while listening to alternative music on your phone.
Yeah.
That's product placement, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, of course, your host, Ben, aka The Fusebox. You can find me on Twitter at Fusebox7. You can also find me on Instagram at Outlaw Nights. And you can find me on my Facebook under my real name, Ben Fuselier, Fuselier. And yeah, if you like anything we had to say, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. And hell, if you didn't like anything we had to say, if you think Captain America and Superman are just heroes for wokeness and everything super hard left, go ahead and hit the dislike button. Because whether you love us or hate us, it doesn't matter. It feeds us. We crave the attention. That's why we're on YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us once again, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk to you all later.
Bye.